Hello and welcome back to another video. Today here again on Forza Horizon 5 to take a look at another brand new vehicle added to the game, which is this classic 1980s Ford F-150. To obtain this truck, all you have to do is get 20 points in the Autumn Festival playlist, which as you can see I've done by doing the trial, the event lab race, one of the championships, the photo challenge, and of course the two rivals that I did at the beginning of the series. It's actually the second of 4 brand new trucks added to the game. Last week we got the Derpy, yes, Ford F-250, which is what I've been calling it, which is why that confused me then. Next week we're getting the Chevrolet K10, and in spring, the one I'm personally most excited for, the Hummer EV truck. And that's of course in addition to the 2 free Cupra vehicles that they gifted to us previously. Today though, focusing on this new edition of the Ford F-150, essentially a 1980s variation of your modern day Ford F-150. Considerably smaller and lighter than that rather ridiculous modern equivalent though, but still weighing 1,726 kilos, so it's not exactly a small or light truck, which I kind of thought it might be, more similar to the Chevy we're getting next week, which I believe is a slightly smaller type of truck. It only produces 185 horsepower somehow from a huge nearly 5-litre engine. If some of the other similar vehicles in the game, like the Scouts or anything to go by, it could be decent, although it's quite substantially heavier than that, given it weighs nearly 2 tons, so it may not actually be very good at anything, unfortunately. It is of course all-wheel drive, but given the big weight and little power, is only rated a D357 here in Forza from standard. Unsurprisingly then, it was incredibly slow and boring to drive from standard. It does have an incredibly 80s interior, from the dark wood inserts, which for some reason don't match from the center console, to this bit, to the grey leather, to the square dials. It is quite incredibly of its era. I also love that there's a bench seat in the front. That is quite incredible. There are, though, some quite nice painting options. To start with, there are some rather nice two-tone manufacturer colours, although personally I'm never really a fan of brown and cream, so I was rather hoping that the paint groups would allow us to make use of that, but they don't. What they in fact allow us to do, because you see here it has advanced painting options, is Group 2 allows us, if we swing around to the back here, to paint the Ford lettering on the back of the truck, which is rather incredible, but it's a shame that we can't paint the kind of two-tone design that's on it, because it means we're kind of limited to red or bronze. In terms of upgrades, there are a few interesting options. For example, the new aero that's available for all pickup trucks is here, as well as things like your usual bumper delete that's available on older vehicles. But you have your new front bumper available, and of course the new overlanding mods, which were kind of teased on a couple of vehicles in the rally expansion, but now available for pretty much every pickup truck in the game, as well as the previous kind of style of sort of trophy truck back, almost taking the back off the truck, which is kind of a shame because then it removes that bit where you can do your paint layer groupings. Again, on the back you can obviously delete your bumper. There are a few engine swaps. There's a 3.5 litre V6, 6.7 litre V8 diesel, which is quite interesting, we don't see that often, 5.8 litre V8, racing 7.2 litre V8 and 7.4 litre V8. So a whole host of V8s plus some other interesting options. There's of course a rear-wheel drive conversion, and there's also a supercharger. Everything else is pretty much as you would expect. You can do your tyre compounds, tyre widths, you can bring out the track width at the rear, and of course the new tyre profile sizes are available, as is the case with a lot of pickup trucks in the game now. Other than that, it's all kind of as you'd expect in the drivetrain section, and in the platform and handling section, and in the engine section. So after taking a first look at the upgrades there in the shop, we had a quick flick through the tunes that had been made so far, and decided a particular B-Class slick-tired tune was a good idea to try. So we did a couple of online adventures with this, as well as of course downloading a brilliant paint job to hopefully make us go faster. Now we did know going into this that the truck would handle well but not necessarily have great speed on the straights, or at least be fast through the corners, which is exactly what it was like. Although, as I say, it was kind of fast through the corners but didn't necessarily drive well. It handled well, I would say. It was just kind of a bit slippery, especially if you touch the dirt, obviously, with those slick tyres on. Reduced your grip quite substantially, so it was kind of interesting. Took a little bit of getting used to. I wouldn't necessarily say it was good to drive or fun to drive, but it had some reasonable pace around some handling-oriented tracks, and in fact did okay around a few of those. Once I'd got more used to it, it did decently around some of the ones with less straights and more corners, even taking a victory, in fact, around the Los Jardins circuit with not too bad a lap time. It was, however, not the greatest thing to drive, and not being the fastest but being reasonable, I think it's not really enough, so I probably am going to take this tune off again after this video, but a bit of fun to play around with it in some online racing nevertheless. And that is going to do it for a very first look at the classic 1980s Ford F-150 here on Forza Horizon 5. It is great to have another brand new pickup truck added, and another brand new vehicle added in general, but yeah, I'm not as interested in the pickups as I have been in previous vehicles, but like I say, still great to have 4 new vehicles added in the playlist, and of course the 2 new Cupras as well, so 6 new in total. But yeah, not a bad little thing, kind of interesting, but not going to be great at anything, I don't think, and we can't really just do playground games with everything in this series, so I would kind of like it if maybe they varied the updates. I kind of like that they're along a theme, but I quite like how Gran Turismo do it as well, where they put 3 totally different vehicles, because I think by the time we get to the 4th pickup truck in a row, they're not going to be that interesting, although I am very much looking forward to that Hummer in the final week of the playlist. But I will be back same time next week, or maybe not actually, it might be a bit later next week's video, but I will be back very soon to take a look at the hopefully slightly smaller and lighter Chevrolet pickup truck that is in next week's playlist. For now though, that is going to be all, so thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with the next video very soon.